Not every film can be Citizen Kane, but even critics have claimed that it was shit in its day. Some films are shit and shit they will stay, but some get better over time because of Nicolas Cage. So which film stays shit forever? And which one got a little bit better? Second chance movies. No poor bloods were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Welcome to Second Chance Movies. I'm one of your hosts, Jessica Kwazz.
And I'm the other host, Joe Harper.
And Joe, today we are giving a second chance to a recently revived controversy of a movie, and that is Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World.
Yes, indeed. It is a movie.
It's a movie we watched. Yeah. So this is a little different because this movie has not been on my radar since 2003. And some of you may know, especially us film nerds out there, that there was a recent Twitter debacle over whether or not it's a good movie. And so we thought we'd give it a second chance and see. So yeah, otherwise I don't think we'd be talking about this movie at all.
You know, it's funny because I think you've seen it before.
I have.
I've gone almost 20 years without seeing this movie.
Yeah, so a little, behind the scenes, this was Joe's first chance with this movie.
This is my first time seeing Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World.
The Far Side of the World.
I knew zero things going into it, which was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I always think it's fun going into a movie not knowing anything and seeing where that movie takes me.
Yeah, that is always fun. Just to kind of go in blind.
Especially since I don't think I've seen a trailer since 2003.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, it wasn't, it hasn't been on my mind since 2003. So that makes perfect sense. So, like, why would you?
I definitely had to read IMDb's description of this. During the Napoleonic Wars, a brash British captain pushes his ship and crew to their limits in pursuit of a formidable French war vessel around South America.
Wow.
I think that's a fair fair description of this movie.
I guess that's what happens.
I've always known this movie as the boat movie my grandfather loves. So that's all I knew about it. It didn't seem my cup of tea. So that's why I've never seen it.
So is that how you would summarize it, as the boat movie your grandpa loves? That's
the only way I would ever describe this movie to anyone. That's the boat movie my grandfather loves.
I mean, that's a pretty fair description, because one of mine would also be the boat movie that my dad thought was really good. But my summary now, having watched it again, is 1800 ship wars. That's it.
Oh, see, I don't. Wars is a very, I would say, battle.
Okay, my description now,
or disagreement, because like war to me is like big, massive, people on both sides, and it's just two ships. So
okay, yeah,
not a war.
So then I would say 1800s ship fights between two ships.
And yeah, that's definitely the summary of this movie. We're definitely going to be talking about this movie in depth. So spoilers, be warned.
Yeah, gonna happen. Normally we'd say, pause the episode, go watch it and come back. But I'm not going to give that advice this time. I say just listen to our commentary, because I think it's going to be more exciting than the movie itself.
Hey, and if you like the movie, please give us some comments and tell us why you like the movie, because
Yeah.
I need to know.
Let
I need
us
to know.
know. Give us a review. Make sure it's 5 stars because that helps us out. But if you disagree with us in the comments, please tell us why, because I'm very curious.
I know it's already off to a start where it sounds like we're just going to shit all over this movie, and that probably is going to be the case. But we will say some good things about the movie.
We
I
will.
always want to make sure at least that I say some good things, and I'm going to make sure Jessica says at least one nice thing about this movie.
Yes, I have a few things actually. It's usually very hard to find more than one thing I like about movies, but I tried to be very objective. So I did that.
And if there's things we don't like about it, we're going to hopefully tell you what we would tweak to make it something we did like or
Yeah.
would have liked.
Yeah.
So, Jessica, what I want to know now is, what did people think about this movie when it came out?
Review time.
I need some reviews.
Okay, so this was very critically acclaimed. However, not everyone loved it. It was not like a massive beloved film. There were some negative reviews. So first of all, right now it stands on Rotten Tomatoes at an 85% with critics and an 80% with audiences. The 80% with audiences is the one that surprises me the most, but whatever. So we've kind of already been shitting on this movie a little bit. So I'll start off with a positive review. We'll change it up. Peter Travers at the Rolling Stone said, "A rousing, high seas adventure that sweeps you into another world." Maybe.
It swept me onto the other side of the sofa a couple times.
So Jeff Strickler at the Minneapolis Star Tribune said, "A swashbuckling epic for grown-ups."
Well, yeah, I guess so.
I guess. I mean,
I guess.
I'm a grown-up now, and okay. So I guess so this is supposed to be positive, but I don't know. Okay, I guess positive question mark. Nev Pierce at BBC said, "Russell Crowe wages war on water in this rousing, old-fashioned adventure, which stays afloat despite being almost as long and as self-important as its title." A little shade thrown into a positive review.
It does have a long, unnecessary subtitle. Like Master and Commander. Sure, that's a fine title for this movie. The Far Side of the World. Like, okay, that you don't need that part.
Eleanor Ringel Cater at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution said, "Masterful and commanding."
Okay,
You see what she did there? You see what she did there?
I hope I remember this for when we rate future movies. It was very passengerly.
Now that we've lightened the spirit a little bit, let's get back into the negatives. Stephen Hunter at the Washington Post says, "Seems fated to disappoint everyone except the slick magazines that put it on their covers." So let's remember it was 2003.
Did you say Stefan?
Steven.
Is it Steven? Is it Steven or Stefan?
I don't know.
Is that your Indiana
Stefan.
education kicking in? Is it Stephen?
It's Stefan. It's with a PH.
That's Steven.
I thought Steven was with a V.
It's spelled two ways.
Oh
my goodness. Yeah.
Stefan.
Steven. How
Steve
many people do you know are Steve is also a PH?
No, it's not.
No,
it's not.
Want to bet money on it?
Yeah, because Steven.
Dr. Stephen Strange.
He spells it PH?
Look it up. Here, we're just gonna. That way, I can show you a famous person.
Stefan. Steve. I don't see how Steven can be spelled. It's like Scene and Sean. Like, I don't see how we get
I agree completely on the Scene Sean thing. Sean with an EA is insane, but that's English for you.
Stephen
Colbert.
Does he?
Stephen Merchant, Stephen Root, Stephen King, Stephen Amell, Stephen Dorff. The list goes on. Stephen Lang.
What the fuck? That doesn't make it, because a PH makes like the F sound, right?
It sure does. Yeah. Phonetically, yeah.
So it'd be Stefan.
It's, you know, I had to stop you before you make this mistake, but I hope this goes into it. I want our explanation of this and you learning Stephen can be spelt with a PH.
I never knew. Okay, so we'll start.
You went almost 30. You went almost 30 years without knowing that.
I don't know a Stephen. I don't personally know a Stephen.
But you know all those actors, though. I named so many.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just never paid attention to their names, the spelling of their names.
Goodness.
It's not often I'm writing Stephen Colbert. You know, like, okay.
You know what's going to be really funny if we find out that guy's name is actually Stefan? Like, he pronounces it Stefan.
Stephen Hunter from the Washington Post. If you are listening to this, please let us know. Or if you're a relative or a friend of his, let us know how he says it, pronounces it, because I guess it could go either way. I don't know.
Or if you're a Stephen, let us know if you go by the PH or the V, and why are we not you think one is the right or the wrong?
And if you're a Sean spelled like Scene, why don't you change your name to Sean spelled like how it should be spelled? Let us know. Let us know.
Fucking English is so stupid.
It's so stupid. Anyway, so Ella Taylor for LA Weekly wrote, "The seafaring adventure, Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World, has few 30-foot waves going for it, and very little else that would excite anyone but geeky 12-year-old boys who like to make sailing ships out of matchsticks."
First of all, no, wrong.
So
12-year-old boys are not going to be into this movie.
Fathers are going to be into this movie.
It's funny because like the theme of this has always been, or at least when I've heard all these reviews and learn and read a bit up on this movie, it looks like the primary audience and people that enjoyed this movie were adults, particularly fathers, grandfathers.
Yeah.
Later adult men. Like,
yeah. I've never heard a child be like, "Yo, you know what slaps?" Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World.
This is why I'm dressed up as an adult today. I decided to wear a button-up shirt and a tie.
You look very fatherly.
Yeah, I had to make sure I looked the part of an adult that watched this movie.
We haven't done this yet for this show, but we had to. So I included an audience review off of Rotten Tomatoes. This is from Jackson W. It's kind of long, so strap in, be ready.
Uh-oh.
Get those ears wide open to listen. He wrote in 2013. So a decade after the movie came out. Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Someone covered it 10 years after?
Someone thought to watch this movie 10 years after. Yeah. So Jackson W., he wrote, "My goodness, this film is boring. The fact that so many people give this the thumbs up is really alarming. I have seen educational films with more engaging moments than this. Throughout the film, all we are given is nice visuals to just a bunch of actors talking in butchered accents, and never once do we have a formulated story, just bloodshed, madness, and a few semi-likable singing and music scenes. From the cover of the DVD case, I was expecting to be thrilled, but minutes after I saw the end credits, I am still waiting. To me, this was an extreme failure on Crow's part."
Yeah, I'm still waiting.
The only thing I have to say is semi-likable singing and music scenes. Those were the worst things. they would just randomly burst into like old-timey nautical songs and be like, my lady is a ship, and it's like, shut up.
So I
Stop.
know Russell Crowe learned to play violin for this, and I assume the same goes for Bettany. But you know what? Good for them for learning how to play those instruments so we can see it.
I mean,
I
that was cool. Those music scenes were dope. So,
You
and I
don't
didn't know that.
like
So that's cool.
as actors, they didn't necessarily need to like actually play it, but the
Mm-hmm.
fact that they did helps, with just shots and making it sound good.
That's really dope. That's
Good job,
cool.
guys, for learning
That's
a new
cool.
instrument.
Yeah. Good for them. At least they got something out of this movie.
All right, guys. What I want to hear now from Jessica. Jessica, what I know this all started from a tweet that just resurfaced recently here in 2021. What was that tweet? Why are we watching this movie in 2021?
So, okay, before I read the tweet, I want to say that I actually saw this like the day it was happening. Because I go on Twitter a lot, and I saw that Master and Commander was trending, and I was like, excuse me? Like, what? What
My
is
first
this about?
what happened to Russell Crowe?
Right. Is he okay? Turns out he wasn't. He was pissed. But yeah, so this came out January 8th, 2021. So very recently. And I gotta say, this tweet, as someone who's always had insomnia and sleeping issues, I love this tweet. So Ian McNabb, his Twitter handle is at Empire Send, wrote
I think it's Empire's End.
Empire's End.
So
Okay.
it could be. So when I read it the first time, I thought Empire
Empire's
Sinned, and I thought that's stupid. And then I was like, oh wait, Empire's End probably is the better.
End.
I
Okay,
think it's
yeah.
Empire's End, but it could be Empire Sinned. Who knows?
Either way, he wrote, lots of folk complaining about lack of sleep during the pandemic. May I recommend Master and Commander, starring the usually captivating, attention-grabbing Russell Crowe. I've never made it past the 10-minute mark. You're welcome. And thanks, Russell. And then he added Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe saw this.
First of all, I just want to commend Ian for he tags Russell Crowe in it. He wants Russell Crowe to know how shitty this movie was.
Like,
your movie's so boring. You need to know this 20 years later.
Your movie's so boring that this works better than Ambien.
Oh my god. So what's crazy is Russell responds to this, I think January 16th, like a week later. And what follows after his tweet is just a wave of support for the movie. But let's hear Russell. So Russell retweeted back, that's the problem with kids these days. No focus. Peter Weir's film is brilliant, an exacting, detail-oriented, epic tale of fidelity to empire and service, regardless of the cost. Incredible cinematography by Russell Boyd and a majestic soundtrack. Definitely an adult movie. First of all, fuck you. An adults movie? No. So what I find ridiculous about that tweet is he's saying it to Ian. It's an adult. Ian's older than him by 4 years. I bothered to do the research.
You did the deep dive.
Russell Crowe, born 1964. Ian McNabb, 1960.
That's hilarious.
This is another adult that's complaining about how boring your movie is. It's an adults movie. Anytime I hear it's an adults movie, it makes it sound like they're defending how boring it is.
It's so condescending too, to be like, that's the problem with kids these days. They don't appreciate art. As if like we all didn't love Parasite, bitch. Like, we know art. We know art. Excuse me. Like,
and there are so-called children's movies that are just suited for everyone that are made by adults. Like
right.
Shrek. Shrek has so many adult humored themes in it, and it's for kids.
Yeah, Pixar. Hello.
Oh, Pixar is way better examples than fucking Shrek. But oh my god, like I'm just so anyway. Russell tweeted back, "Meh," and then that's when I looked up because I'm on his page right now on Ian's page, and just all these January 17th, 18th tweets because they're standing up for Russell Crowe, or just like, yeah, that movie is boring. We're gonna read some of these tweets because we're gonna scroll through and we're gonna just read through our favorites.
Can I just say I have it open as well, and the people that don't like the movie are just like, yeah, whatever, it's boring. But the people standing up for Russell Crowe are like passionate. They are like, how dare you? And I don't get it.
It's so crazy to me how like insane, like everyone is so, this is a great movie. It's so perfect. And like, why? I don't think it's perfect. It has good moments in it, but overall it's pretty boring. Because like the movie itself, guys, we'll get into our reviews
we'll
about
get
the
into
movie
it in a second.
But like, man, I do not understand anyone. Oh god. They keep calling Ian a troll. I hate that. I don't think he's not trolling. I think he just was stating an opinion. It was trolling to tag Russell in it, which is hilarious.
It was funny though. It's a funny tweet. Like I think it's funny, and also like it's not a troll. It's an opinion, and it's a funny way of stating your opinion.
Not sure what's up with the tendency to feel superior by tearing others down. Which is kind of what we're about to do, but like, yeah, Russell will be okay.
He's not
the fact
canceled.
That he wasn't
it's
okay.
Fine.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is top 10 worst tweet of 2021 so far. Okay.
I watched this at 14 and knew it was a great movie. I think you were the problem here, Ian. Idiot.
This is one of my favorites. It's shittier than a shit-covered shit. Taste is, of course, individual, but this is a minor masterpiece predicated on an exceptional attention to detail, brilliant pacing, and maybe most importantly, really excellent performances in every supporting role, however minor. Whoa.
I'm going to let you... I don't remember any of the supporting cast besides... There's only 2 actors I remember in it.
No. Oh my god.
Why tag the man just to insult his work? Hey, that was my favorite part of it, that he tagged him.
I love that he tagged him. And you know what? Like, it's funny. I didn't even know Russell Crowe had a fucking Twitter until this. And it's just, I think it's so funny.
Hey, Russell, Twitter's a young person's game.
Yeah.
Oh, this is one of my favorite tweets, but also I hate it. You should see it through and then watch Gladiator. Afterwards, choose the lesser of 2 weevils.
Oh.
Weevils, for those who don't know, is a funny, I'm going to funny in quotes, joke in the movie. It's an anecdote about weevils, and it's not that great.
It's not that great.
But that's like the funniest thing in the movie. Only funny thing, but they make it out to be like it was hilarious.
One of my favorite digs is, I'm sure there's a Muppet movie out there more suitable for you. First of all, Muppet movies can fucking slap.
Muppet Treasure Island is a far superior movie than this.
It's so good, sir.
And I was thinking about the correlation the entire time when I was watching it.
Was not, but I will say, fucking Muppets movies are great, sir. And it's just such a condescending thing, like, you child, you like the Muppets better than Master and Commander. And then I love it because there was a response from a girl named Vicky who said, you say that like the majority of the Muppet movies aren't way better than Master and Commander anyway. Thank you.
What a weird way to announce your lack in taste of cinema. Guys, if Master and Commander is your peak of cinema, I don't know what to tell you guys. There's better things out there. Was this the worst movie I've ever seen? No, far from it. But it wasn't engaging or interesting enough for me to like remember it.
I just love because they're like Twitter is a cesspool of just people angry with opinions and disagreements, but to be so passionate about Master and Commander, like
Bro, this movie slaps. What the fuck are you talking about? What? Oh, Donnie Smith.
oh my God. I never ever knew that there was an area of film fans that just were so passionate about Master and Commander.
It is crazy to me because like for the past almost 20 years, I have not heard anyone
No,
talk about this movie.
not at
But
all.
like I've been reading like people, this is in my top 20 list. What? No, guys. Oh my goodness. But like again, the only person I've ever heard talk about this movie is my dad talking about how his father-in-law loves this movie.
Yeah, the only person I ever heard talk about it was my dad, and he stopped talking about it after 2003. So, like, yeah, this film has been like forgotten for almost for over a decade, but now
Which is
all of
funny
a
why
sudden,
Ian brought it up.
yeah, because it's like, hey, remember this shit movie? And everyone's like, how dare you? And it's like, guys,
Guys, we even got the opinion of Frozen star Josh Gad to throw in the hat.
well, that's not surprising because he sticks his ass anywhere he can. Truly, like, sorry, sorry to Josh Gad fans out there, but that guy just is always like, "Hey, I'm here too."
He said it's a perfect movie. Disagree.
Full disagree, but that's not the first time I've disagreed with any part of Josh Gad.
You know what? Josh Gad, In Summer is a perfect song. Master and Commander is not a perfect movie.
Oh, wow. So much passion for Master and Commander, the far side of the world. It's unbelievable to me. I don't get it.
I don't understand it. Guys, there were, oh man, at least 508 people that tweeted back at him.
Wow, that's a lot of people. Also, you guys, like, I don't know, there's like a pandemic to maybe get more heated about right now. But sure, go off, film Twitter, go off. Also, just so you know, we can disagree about opinions, and that's fine.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah.
And I really want to know, because again, when I read these comments, they just praise about how great it is. I don't get it. Please explain to us why it was so great, because I don't get it.
No, like, yeah, that's the thing with these tweets. I'm not, and most of the positive reviews either, I'm not like seeing specific reasons as to why like this is a good movie.
They just want to stand up for Russell Crowe, which again, I don't get.
I don't get that either. Isn't he kind of like an asshole? Allegedly.
Allegedly, as what we hear, but like, I don't know. Jessica.
Yes.
Describe to me your first time watching this.
Sure. So it was definitely like in 2003 or early 2004, somewhere around there. And like I said before, my dad really liked this movie. And my dad actually growing up was like introduced me to a lot of movies, which was really cool. I saw a lot of like classic movies and just good movies when I was younger. So I've always trusted my dad with his movie taste. Except for this time around. And The Aviator. He loves that movie too, and I just don't get it. Anyway, we're not talking about that though. So yeah, my dad back then was like, we gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. You'll love it. It's amazing. It's wonderful. And so we did. I sat down and watched it with him and was like, Dad, this sucks. This sucks. Like, this is boring as hell. I don't like this. And when we were talking about doing this movie for an episode, I thought, like, you know what? Like, again, it was 2003. Pirates of the Caribbean came out, and I was really into that as a kid. So maybe it was like I had that in my mind for this, and like my perception was off because I thought it was going to be like a Jack Sparrow romp. So I was like, I'm going to give it a second chance. Maybe my dad was right all along.
He wasn't.
So he wasn't. So yeah, the first time around I was young, I was bored. I don't know if I even finished it. I don't remember much about it from the first time around. I just remember being like, this is boring, Dad. So that was my first experience with it.
So this was my first experience with it because I've avoided this movie for almost 20 years. uh I know it was nominated for a lot of awards, and it just there's something about I guess that time period I just don't care about. Any movie that's set in the 1700s or 1800s, 1900s, I don't care about.
Interesting. See, I
Yeah,
like period pieces. That's not why I didn't like this.
there's just a lot of period pieces. I just feel like, they don't focus really on a story. It's more like, hey, let's focus on all these costumes, make it look set accurate. Awesome. If that's the main thing you're focusing on, it's not the movie for me. I want something with a story and characters, and it's just something about boats in the ocean that are just like shooting at each other wasn't my cup of tea. Also, the only other person I knew that watched this is my grandfather, who was in the Navy. So I
Okay.
understood why he would like this movie. It's about boats, and any movie about a boat he's going to watch. And he's very selective. He doesn't watch a lot of movies, but if it's about a boat, he's going to watch it. So I'm not going to take his movie opinions just because there's boats in it. And so because it was my first time, I usually ask the wife if she wants to watch the movie with me. And I told her it was Master and Commander and it was about boats. And she just said, nope, watch that without me. I do not care about this. And, she gets to avoid it for another 20 years or so. However,
Until
lucky
Twitter
her.
comes back with
Yeah.
a hot take. Good for her.
So I had to wait till she goes to sleep. That's, I have to wait till she has her bedtime of midnight. So I fought the insomnia and I stayed up until 3-ish in the morning to watch it.
Wow.
Yeah. It didn't put me to sleep, but it could have.
Yeah, no, same. And I have horrible insomnia. And at times I was like, can I go to bed now?
So yeah, my first time was recent, and I sat through it all. I didn't fall asleep in it.
Same. Although I did watch it in 2 parts because at a certain point I was like, okay, I need a moment. Like, I'll watch the rest tomorrow. I get it. So since we have been really ripping this movie to shreds, should we talk about some things that we like actually did like about the movie?
Yeah, if you can. Yeah, go for
it,
man.
I think I can.
Yeah, we could say nice things about this movie.
We can say nice things about this movie. Hold on 1 second. So first off, I do want to say that I personally liked the set design, the props, the set dressing of the boat itself. I mean, being on a fucking wooden ship in the 1800s sounds terrifying to me and messy and gross. And I think just like the look and feel of the boat captured that. And at times, like there's nice little like pieces of the boat that tells you kind of the story of like, yeah, this shit is not a great boat. Like certain like pieces of the wall are kind of crapping out, or like seeing all like the crew members like hunkered down at the bottom of the ship in these like sleeping cots. Like that was interesting to me to see, just like again how shitty it would have been to be on a boat in the 1800s. So I liked that about it. I really did. I thought that the visuals in terms of like, again, the sets, the props, the makeup, the costuming was really good. It was cool. I think they did a wonderful job with that.
Yeah, I think like even like seeing how they operate the boat itself, we see very small glimpses. I feel like I would have benefited more if I had saw more how this boat operates, and the people who operate it, what they have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
So like seeing, because like the interesting parts to me in this movie, or at least one of the interesting parts, was seeing like some of the crew scrubbing the deck with a rock, like it's just a stone. That's how they're cleaning it, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that's how they do that." And then they have like a dislike of one of the captains that doesn't have to do that. And I thought, okay, now I like this, but it doesn't really go anywhere. I gotta say, my biggest complaint with this movie is what I don't care about this movie is I don't have a connection with any of the characters.
No.
And I think that's the biggest struggle I have with the whole movie. And then I'm never in the movie at all because of this. Like, you can have the best sets, and everything can look just accurate and awesome, but like, if I don't care about your cast, what am I watching this for? I know that there's a captain, and I know that there's a doctor, and then there's a crew of people that I don't really know their names, and I don't know anything about them. The doctor, I think, is the most well-rounded individual in terms of a character. Their doctor, not only is he a surgeon, but he's also a naturalist. So he likes to wants to discover all the like new animals and species. And when they sail by the Galapagos, that was probably the most interesting thing to me, was him like wanting to learn about all the iguanas and birds that are on that island. And I was like, oh, just stop on this island, let him explore, because this is interesting.
Yeah, totally. Like, it is interesting to see like finding science and new life, like how the things we know today about animals and nature back then. Yeah, I would have loved to spend a little bit more time with that. I completely agree with you. Like, look, I get it. It's a very specific time and place. I know it's a period piece, and that predominantly white males were the ones on these ships in the 1800s, but literally, like, I can't tell these people apart because they're all white men that look the same.
Yeah, they're all either have like the same like mutton chops, or like just give like one guy a huge beard, one guy a mustache, like just so I can tell each person apart. Because with the cast that I don't recognize, it's hard to spot the differences. I got to have like something I can spot visually of like, oh, that's that character. One of the kids gets his arm cut off fairly early in the movie, and I know what happened to that kid. I can recognize that kid instantly.
Yeah. I mean, and plus he's an actual like child in this situation, so he's very easy to like draw your eye to. But the rest, like the men, like to me, I don't know their names, I don't know their personalities, I don't know what their positions really were, and they all look the same.
There's a few characters I think we either could have fleshed out or made them more interesting, give them a something. Because the doctor's got the naturalist, captain's got violin and bossing people around, I guess. Again, I don't really even know what the captain, besides just being Russell Crowe and just needing to command and lead these people, what does he do? Like, I don't know. I know he's best friends with the surgeon, and that's about, give us more scenes with them like being friends. Because like the scenes where they are friends, and he's like, what should I do? And he's like, I gotta tell you this as the captain and as a friend, these are my two different opinions. And those are the most interesting parts, are when they actually take small moments to like talk to one another. And that's, show that heart, compassion. That was interesting. Like there's at one point someone goes overboard. Like they're in a storm, the mast breaks, and he falls over. And my only thought was, I don't know who that is.
Right.
I don't really care. Like that sucks a lot that he's going to die at sea. But and like they make the tough decision, and like I know that they probably know him, but we as the audience, I don't know who that is. Sorry, guy. Had we known who he was, that would have been a tearjerker moment for us. Like, oh no, armless kid. He lost his arm, but he's gonna drown.
And the thing about this moment too is that he's holding on to, I guess, a bow or something. I don't know ship stuff, but he's holding on to something that is essentially dragging the boat down. So they have to make the decision to chop this part off and therefore let him drift away. So it's incredibly powerful because they basically have to sacrifice this one guy for everyone else to survive. And again, like if I knew who this guy was, like it could be really emotional because we literally see them be like, we gotta let him go, and like just start chopping the thing off, and he floats away, and it's really like, oh man, that sucks. But like, yeah, I don't know who he was. I don't know the attachment to the other characters that he has, besides just being like, yeah, we had to let a guy die. That sucks. Like that's all I felt.
And because I don't know him, I'm fine with him cutting him loose because, like, hey, we got to save. I know you have to save everyone.
We gotta save everyone. Yeah.
Well, oh man, Greg was great, but like, is he that like? Oh man.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
you know what? We should all drown because if Greg's going, we got to go too.
So speaking of characters, I can't get behind Russell Crowe's character. I find him to be incredibly unlikable. And he's got to make really tough decisions as the master and commander. But
he's not and the commander. He's the master.
He's the master.
The commander is the side people that he tells do this, and they have to go do it.
Okay.
We learned that lesson in the beginning.
Okay. Well, it's hard to follow all this boat stuff. Let me tell you.
It's a lot of boat stuff.
A lot of boat stuff.
If you love boats, this is a movie for you.
This is it. Especially 1800 boats.
Oh man, perfect. If you love history and just like looking at nice things, it's a good movie. But if you want a movie about characters and a story, no. Disagree. This is not the movie.
But yeah, so he's like the leader. He's got to make some really intense decisions. At the beginning of the movie, their ship gets into a ship fight with another ship, and basically they get fucked. Like their ship is fucked. A lot of them are injured. That's when the little boy has to have his arm amputated. Like things are really bad. And so Russell Crowe has to make the decision of, do we turn back and go home, or do we keep going to hunt this ship? And I don't really get the importance of like why we need to hunt this ship, besides like someone told him they had to. I don't get the stakes of like having to go do that. So I don't get like why not just go back home? Like I don't get that. But also like he makes the decision like, we're going to carry on, gentlemen. But we don't, and there's a few moments like that. There's a few moments where he has to make some really tough decisions that affects everyone and could possibly get everyone killed. But we don't see like his hardship in like making these tough decisions. We don't see like the struggle of being in this situation. We don't get to see like, does he feel bad about these things really or not? He's got a lot of pride. So we went back into the negatives, going back to the positives.
We're gonna jump back and forth this entire time. Yeah, don't worry about positive or negative. Well, because at this point, I think our listeners know where we stand on this movie. But like, we're gonna defend our reasons why.
Yeah. So Russell Crowe's character has a lot of pride, and even Paul Bettany, his best bud, says so. Like, your pride's getting in the way. You're making dumb decisions because you're so fucking prideful. Stop being so goddamn prideful, you
Was
idiot.
he making dumb decisions? I feel like he's making the correct decisions as a captain would make.
But he's making very like rash decisions. Like, remember like when they're at the Galapagos and they're like, we're gonna take a beat and we're gonna recharge also because we're all kind of dying, but then they're like, oh, there's a boat right there, let's go get it. And it's like, wait a minute, bro, like your crew's dying, they haven't eaten, like give them a moment. So he's making these like very heavy rash decisions without really taking into account other people's opinions or thoughts. So he's got a lot of pride.
I feel, but as a captain, you just have to make that call sometimes.
I mean, yeah, of course.
But like that's the whole point of like having like your best friend. He definitely should have like 3 or 4 people that like, hey, are we all cool with this? Boom. But like in the heat of the moment, like at least when their ship's getting attacked, you just gotta trust what he's saying is the thing to do.
Yeah, totally. I mean, of course, but like when they're making decisions about like where this boat's gonna go and like what we're gonna do next, there are a couple people that are like, I don't know about this, man. Like this is really bad, and he's just like, nah, 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 nah. And I just feel like he makes a lot of risky decisions, which I mean, I ain't no nautical specialist, but I'm guessing you have to sometimes. But sometimes they just come off as like, okay, but what was like your thinking behind that besides like you just want to go and be the best at this? So one thing I did like, which I don't think was intended in this movie, if it was, I'm wrong, but I like the theme of that a man's pride can be his downfall, because a lot of the time he is working solely off his pride and like needing to be the best and getting this thing done and getting this ship and blah blah blah, getting this, getting that, doing this. And his pride gets a lot of his crew members killed. A lot of destruction happens because of his pride. And there's no like real like learning lesson from it at the end. That's why I say I don't think it was intended. But pride is a big theme here, and what
you picked up on something I didn't pick up on. I was just taking everything at face value.
Maybe because I'm a woman and I was just like, oh man, get it together. But yeah, I did notice that there was a lot of like just like ego and pride that can be your downfall and not always the best if you're blinded by it. So I thought that was interesting. Again, I don't think that's what they were going for, but I thought it was cool.
So another issue of mine is I don't really understand the importance of like why this French ship is attacking them. I know there's a war going on, but like I'm not a fan of movies that set up the movie with like dialogue at the beginning. This is where we're at. Like, give me like a history lesson before the movie. Let's just jump to the inciting action like that I'm interested in. Just like setting up the movie, like I have to know this information to enjoy this movie. I feel like tell us. This is a visual medium. Show us. Don't tell us.
So one thing I did actually like about this movie, and this is a weird thing to like, but if you are a true crime murderino like myself and you can handle some gore, I really liked Paul Bettany's moments where he has to give some old-timey boat surgery. They're very intense scenes. It's really wild to watch because medicine wasn't wonderful then, and they would just be cutting you open, cutting shit off, no medication to dull it, no painkillers, just ripping shit apart.
That poor boy there's like an explosion and some like big wooden splinters go like through his arm, and they just look at him like, well, it's coming off, and like there's no medicine for that. It's just bite down on this and good luck, kid. This is gonna
crazy
hurt. And they just
nuts. It's nuts to watch, like, because that's what it was. Like, holy shit.
And it's the first part of the movie where I was like, oh like it caught my attention finally. I was like, whoa, what is happening now? Are we really doing this? Yikes.
Yeah. Then there was a part 2 where in that same boat battle, one of the crew members gets something, I don't know if it's a bullet, I can't remember, but something like lodged in his head, in his brain, essentially. And Paul Bettany's surgery, like literally just on the boat deck, has this guy sitting and just like, whoop, and like other crew members are watching and they're like, okay,
this is his brain.
Whoop, and then they like put a piece of metal for his skull, like where the skull part's missing, and it's just like, okay, and then the guy's good, and it's like, oh my god, that's crazy. And then there's another part. This was maybe one of my maybe my favorite. It was definitely like the most compelling part for me was Paul Bettany, the only surgeon on the ship, which is like, why didn't he have an apprentice there? But whatever. He gets shot in his chest.
First of all, I want to set up how he gets shot, because this is, I think, my favorite moment in the movie. I was like engaged completely. So good job, Peter Weir. You got me engaged with this. What happened? So he's the naturalist that wants to discover. They didn't get to stay at the Galapagos, but a bird had followed them and it's flying around their ship. And one of the guys on the ship, I want to shoot it. And like Paul Bettany's running around the ship to kind of like investigate, like look at it. And all of a sudden, because I didn't think it was like, oh fuck, he's gonna shoot that bird and like ruin his day, because the two don't realize the other's doing that. And I didn't even see this coming, how obvious this setup is. And the guy shoots at the bird, but misses entirely right as Paul Bettany runs in and gets shot right in like the side and the chest, and just like, oh no, you shot your fucking doctor, and that's the only doctor on the boat.
Only
you
doctor
idiot.
on the boat.
Why did you need to shoot that bird, dude? Oh my god.
Yeah, bro.
He was just doing it for fun. He wasn't like hungry. He was just like, oh, a bird, I want to shoot it. What are you doing, dude?
So after that,
why is that cool now?
So after, like, right after that moment, you're right, I was like really drawn into like, oh shit, the surgeon's been shot. I thought he was gonna die, and then that'd be it. Then they're like totally screwed, because if anyone else gets injured, good luck, buds. But he doesn't die immediately. They go back to the Galapagos, which I thought was like really sweet, because he really wanted to stay at the Galapagos, so they bring him there.
That was a fun captain decision. He was like, I got a surprise for you.
Yeah, we're at the Galapagos, baby.
We did this.
So
and you didn't need to do that. I know, but I love you, bro.
Oh, that was nice. That was cute. That got me. So since there's
that was also a big turnaround for the ship. To go back to the Galapagos.
That was a big deal, and they did it for him because they just love him. They just love him like everyone else.
They also needed a steady hand because they couldn't do this at sea.
Right. So there is a guy.
Everyone is super inexperienced.
Everyone's super inexperienced. There is like a guy who like, he's like, I might be able to handle this, and then is like, I don't know about this. So they go back to the Galapagos. They get Paul Bettany in a tent. They have like Russell Crowe and two other guys, and Paul Bettany's like, I'm the only one that can do this, so I'm gonna fucking do it. And he literally lays down. He's got one guy holding a mirror to him. He's like, all right, he's cutting into himself, like just casually fucking taking a bullet out of his body.
Hold the mirror better.
Yeah, he's like, position it. And then at some point, he like, the bullet is lodged, they find like under a rib. So he's like, okay, buds, you guys are gonna have to pull my rib up. And they're like, what the fuck? And he's like, yep, pull my rib up. And they like, whoop, and get the bullet out, and he survives. And it's just like, that shit was like, oh my god, this is I like that wild.
They take, and even the details of, they take the bullet out of him, and then they check the bullet and make sure that the piece of cloth matched the same hole to make sure they got all of it, because the bullet takes the cloth into his body, which would have infected and killed him. Yeah. And so like, even like playing like, you know, like, oh man, making sure that little patch is the missing piece, he saved. I was like, oh, that's neat. I've never seen that in a movie.
So that was really cool. Like, yeah, all these weird, like old-timey surgery moments we had to have, I just found them really compelling. I don't know what that says about me, but I thought they were like, whoa, like this is fucking crazy. Like, thank God I don't live back then. Oh my God, thank God I live in an age of morphine, because fuck that. So, but that leads me to a negative, which while those parts were really dope and really fascinating, overall, this movie is very boring with some compelling moments, but those moments are few and far between. So, and those moments never really lead anywhere, truly. Like, yeah, we get this cool moment of like Paul Bettany literally performing surgery on himself, but then he heals up and he's like, all right, bud, let's get back to the ship. Like, there are really cool moments where I think like this is gonna lead to something like, whoa, and it never does. Uh I do have one more thing that I will say I liked ish, was that I didn't realize that this movie is such a survivalist movie. I mean, there's a lot of like brushes with death. There's a lot of like, um, this is gonna like this happens to the ship, and if we don't do something about it, we're all gonna die. Plus, we're in a ship fight, so like we got to survive. So I did like the idea of survivalism because again, we're at 1800s, like in the water on a fucking wooden boat. That's horrifying to me. That is like, I don't even want to take a cruise nowadays. Like the fuck all that. So the idea of like we have to survive. However, there wasn't enough of like a story with that. It was just like, oh, we a survivalist moment, like, oh, he survived brain surgery on in the 1800s. Dope. Like it, so I didn't expect it to be such a survivalist movie, but at the same time, I wish it was more of that, or at least more of the survivalism, like um worked within the story, because the story itself, it's incredibly like it's recycled. It's like a cycle. Like they fight, they do some boat fighting, they are like, oh wow, that boat fight sucked, then they eat and drink, and they're like, we survived, and then the next day they do some more boat stuff, and then they're like, wow, I can't believe that happened, and then they eat and drink and are like, we did it. Like it's just, the
And
plot sucks.
people praising it for like, I love this movie because of its action. I think the action of just two boat stationary things just shooting cannonballs at each other is not interesting enough. Um,
Yeah.
I think it was more interesting when they had to jump the ship and attack the people. And I'm like, okay, I know some of these characters, and I want to make sure they make it out. Um, and so like just blasting the hell out of a ship, I feel like both ships would just fall apart eventually. There's not like, you know, you could both lose in the end, which sucks.
See, yeah, I didn't
Um,
find that fascinating or visually pleasing, but what I did enjoy was like watching from like the ships themselves, the destruction of like what those things are. Like that's cool, but that's not necessarily action. That's, but the destruction of like these cannonballs, things are falling, people are running around a little bit, and they're all in this contained boat. They can't go anywhere. Like that was interesting to watch. But in terms of action, like you said, it's okay. Two ships are fighting.
as a whole, I think this movie has a lot of like good ideas, but it just doesn't have like a good flow of them.
No,
It's pretty boring.
so boring.
The things I think exciting don't really, they happen and they're over with.
Yeah.
And I don't care about any of the characters except two of them. I think one.
Uh,
I'll go back down to
Paul
one.
Bettany is the only one I really care about.
Bettany, the doctor, was the only interesting one that I was interested in. Him, in his skill for surgery and his love for being a naturalist.
Yeah, and he was just like a pleasant little guy, you know.
I mean, he's one of those actors that I think, which is sad, is that I don't think anyone thinks of him as a first choice. Like, who should star in this? Paul Bettany. I don't think he's ever a first choice, which is it's really sad because I hear that like story all the time where his manager's like, you know, you're done. Hollywood doesn't like you anymore, and then he gets the call to be the Vision, and I feel like if he's in, have you not heard this story?
No, that's really sad.
Read or Google it, or guess, or
I don't
you
like
know,
that.
yeah, he got out of another crappy audition, and his manager, I think maybe it was a talk with his manager about like, yeah, you're done. Hollywood doesn't want you, or you're done. Your expiration date has been stamped on you. Yeah, and then Josh Whedon gives him the call and like, hey, do you want to be Vision in the next Avengers? And when I look at his like credits, he was in like the three Iron Man movies. How is he like
Yeah, he's the I mean, he was the voice, but we all knew like, oh, that's Paul Bettany. Did you know? Yeah, I knew. Like, so, and like he's always been great. And like, yeah, he's usually a supporting character, but like his supporting roles stand the fuck out. Like
like Knight's Tale. He's the scene stealer in that.
Yes, he's a scene stealer in that. Like again, Da Vinci Code,
Beautiful Mind.
Beautiful Mind. Like, yeah, he's not the lead man, but like I wasn't done with him. Rude.
But you know what? I think there's a spot for people that are just supporting characters. Like,
oh yeah,
you add that extra zhoosh to the movie that makes us remember that movie. And you know what, Paul Bettany, you did it for us. Thank you.
And honestly, when I think back to this movie at some point, I'm really only going to think about Paul Bettany's performance. I mean, I liked him better than Russell Crowe.
When I think of this movie, I'm just going to think about that tweet that got us into this mess.
The tweet and Paul Bettany. Those are the only things that I care about. Well, I guess we've exhausted ourselves over this movie.
This sinking ship of a movie.
This sinking ship of a movie. So let's give it, we got to say it officially. Does this movie deserve a second chance? Joe, what do you think?
No, it does not deserve a second chance in my vote. You know what? If your thing is boats or movies from the 1800s, you might really enjoy this. But if you want an interesting movie about characters doing stuff, no.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Had Jessica not told me we should watch this for this because of that stupid tweet, I would have gone another 20 years without seeing it. I would have never watched this.
Yeah, without the tweet, I never would have suggested it. So thank you, Ian. I forgot your last name, but thank you.
I'm not thanking him. Fuck you, wasted 2.5 hours of my life. And then an extra 2 hours filming this.
Yeah. So fuck you, Ian.
Recording this.
You troll.
But also, good job speaking your opinion, because I know everyone tore Ian down for not liking it, but you know what? We're all different. If you have different opinions about movies, let us know in the comments. If you want us to talk about different movies, let us know. We're here to talk about anything.
Yeah, literally. We're talking about this. So my verdict, unless you really like nautical themed movies, give it a second chance. I disagree with you though, Joe. If you like 1800s period pieces, don't give it a second chance, because I like that shit and I did not like this movie. I don't think it deserves a second chance. I think I was right as a kid in 2003 when I told my dad this was stupid and boring. No second chance.
So let's narrow this down. I think the true fans of this movie are going to be anyone born in the 1960s or earlier and love boats.
Yeah, probably.
And or love boats, yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. I don't know any millennials that ever say, yo, this movie, it's my favorite.
Yo, have you seen Master and Commander? That movie slaps.
That is, it's sis. No, I don't ever hear that ever.
Yeah. Are there any other movies that go above Master and Commander for you? Because I don't know, man.
I don't know. If so, let us know. If you totally disagree with us and you think Master and Commander is cinema, please let us know. Leave us a review. Let us know what you think. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Second Chance Movies. Let us know again if you love Master and Commander, or if you want to hear us talk about a different movie. You can also find visual components of this episode on YouTube. If you're listening to this on audio, you can find us on YouTube. And you can find me. My Instagram and Twitter is at JessKwazz, JessKwazz. Joe, where can the people find you?
I don't know. I have some Twitters and some Instagrams, but it's been years since I posted on either one. So if you find me, hey, talk to me and I'll hopefully open up again. I think I'm typically the Joe Harper.
Okay. Well, we can leave your stuff in the description box below if you care. If not, then the people
I'm off the grid.
You're off the grid, baby. So yeah, guys, stay off boats. You know, even cruises. Some weird shit happens on cruises. Just don't go on boats. Fuck boats. It's my final word.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. Boats suck.
Boats suck. Nah.
Second chance